Understanding reincarnation will not only give you a greater understanding of why the existence behind life, but it will also give you an understanding of the meaning and purpose behind the situations and things that you have had to endure throughout your life. Let's talk about it. In order for us to understand reincarnation, we must first understand the concept of inexperience and experience. Once the source consciousness brought the universe into manifestation, every subsequent thing created is an expression of what we call inexperience and experience, or ignorance and knowledge moving towards a specific completion. No thing or situation that exists on earth has existed, will exist, is in a state of completeness. We're all relative expressions of ignorance and knowledge, or inexperience and experience, moving towards a specific completion. No one is all-knowing. As a matter of fact, if you exist, you are incomplete. Your experience defines your relative things that you know and your relative things that you are absent of knowledge of. So one of the reasons why reincarnation exists is simply because we are all relative inexperience and ignorance moving towards a completion. We are all part knowledge, things that we know, things that we have experienced, and then we are all part ignorance, things that we have not experienced. Knowledge, the concept of knowledge and what I am making reference to, can only come through experience. So therefore, you have things that you have experienced, and then you have things that you have inexperience of, you have not experienced. So we are relative expressions of ignorance and knowledge. You know, for instance, a child who has completed the third grade has the experience of completion of the third grade. So therefore, they have knowledge of all the things, situations, testing, challenges, and so on within the third grade, but they're still ignorant of the fourth grade. So when they go to the fourth grade, they're going to bring with them a relative understanding of coming from the third, second, and first grade, and even kindergarten. But as it relates to the fourth grade, they are still manifesting at a state of ignorance. So that's a great example of life. There are certain things that we have experienced through our many incarnations that puts us in a relative state of ignorance and a relative state of experience. But that we're not complete. We're not all-knowing. You are not in a state of knowing all things. That is impossible. You are moving towards the completion of your knowledge, and therefore that completion of your knowledge will bring you into a state of all-knowingness from which your life experiences will change. The ancestors specified that there was roughly a 25 to 24,000 year cycle of human existence. Of course, within this human existence, we consistently come back to Earth to gain greater understanding and greater knowledge, moving towards a specific completion. So one of the major reasons why reincarnation takes place is simply because we are all relative expressions of inexperience and relative expressions of experience. We are relative expressions of ignorance and relative expressions of knowledge. And within that cycle, we are able to reincarnate, learn more, progress towards completion. Now, let's talk about the need for reincarnation. One of the reasons why there is a need for reincarnation, or what I like to say is that reincarnation is a tool used to bring about a complete state of understanding. But one of the reasons why there is a need for reincarnation is simply this. You cannot get complete understanding, complete knowledge of this particular system, understanding of the source, whatever you want to call it. You cannot get complete understanding in one lifetime. That is impossible. No different than you can get complete understanding of the scholastic experience in one scholastic year. So a tool that is used to allow us to gain understanding, assimilate understanding, apply understanding is through segmenting our life into what we call intervals of time, by which we are able to learn specific things, understand those specific things, experience those specific things, and then move on to different levels of understanding. Again, this is exactly why in the scholastic system they don't give all school in one scholastic year. It is impossible for a second grader to understand higher levels of math. So therefore, their life is broken down into what we call scholastic periods that allows them to understand and learn specific things, accumulate understanding, and then take that understanding into the next lifetime into the next scholastic experience until they reach completion of that scholastic experience. Again, life is no different. In order for you to truly come to understand this complete understanding, your life must be segmented into time cycles by which you're able to learn bits and pieces and then continue to move on. So one of the major reasons why reincarnation, the tool of reincarnation, exists is simply because it's impossible for you to get all understanding in one life. It's impossible for you to know all things, have the ability to experience the things that are necessary, the situations and beings that are necessary to bring about the complete state of understanding in one life. So therefore, you're given many opportunities to come back to Earth to continue to grow and prosper and continue to move on towards that specific completion. Another reason why it's important for the existence of reincarnation, or the tool of reincarnation, is simply this. We are all relative expressions of ignorance and experience. So in other words, there are certain specific things that I know, or specific knowledge that I have, and then of course there is specific ignorance that I have. I am not all ignorant, but at the same time, I am not all knowledgeable. There are specifics to what I know. There are specifics to what I don't know, based on what I, learned in the past. Your life has to be organized so that it will coordinate and strategically and intelligently bring together a specific life curriculum that is specifically suited towards specifically what you know and what you don't know. It has to be tailored to us so that we will grow beyond our specific ignorance, but then we will be able to apply our specific knowledge to experience the success of that application. So again, let's go back to our school example. In our school example, when you go into the third grade, there's a curriculum that is set up to support what you should know when you're in the third grade, but then it's also there to support what you don't know and the reason behind why you're in the third grade. For instance, we wouldn't expect a kindergartner to understand geometry. So what we would have to do is cater a curriculum that is at the same level of that child's physiological makeup, psychological makeup, their brain capacity of understanding at that particular time. So therefore, we create a curriculum specific to that child. The same is true in life. Your life has what we call a life path objective, destiny objective, incarnation objective. It's been called many things, but you have an objective that defines your curriculum. That curriculum that you will experience in this life is suited and tailored to your specific ignorance and your specific knowledge. So within that framework, you are allowed to manifest the challenge of overcoming your ignorance, but then you're also allowed to manifest success through the application of what you know. So your life should be enriched with success and enriched with opportunities that allow you to grow beyond your ignorance. So the need for reincarnation is this: we cannot get 100% all complete experience in one life. That is impossible. It is impossible for you to endure those situations and things, the nature, the accumulative effect of all those things that you would need to reach completion in one life. That is impossible. The second aspect of it is that you have to come back into this world and reincarnate because you have specific expressions of ignorance, you have specific expressions of knowledge, and therefore your life must be organized to support and facilitate the specifics behind you. And therefore, you are born into a life path objective that allows you to specifically grow beyond your specific ignorance and allow you to grow and utilize your specific knowledge to bring yourself into a level of success. So the purpose of reincarnation is simply this. Reincarnation allows you to grow beyond your ignorance. So it gives you situations that are going to motivate you to grow beyond your ignorance, but then it also allows you to apply what you know to bring about your level of success. So that's the basic components of reincarnation. I want to close with talking to you a little bit about the concept of the desire to come back. Now, many traditions, unfortunately talk about Earth as being hell, and that, you have reached a certain spiritual level when you don't want to come back, when you don't have a desire to come back. And, those traditions are expressions of what we call ignorance and the influence of imperialism. The ancestors and many traditional Africans and in many Eastern philosophies understood that the earth is not hell. The only reason why the earth is hell is simply because man has turned it into hell. We look forward to coming back to earth because it gave us an opportunity to continue to grow beyond our ignorance, but then it also gave us the opportunity to apply what we know and experience the success of that. So those two things are very important for reincarnation. It gives us the ability to continue to come back. Case in point, when you make your transition, and what I mean by transition is that's what the traditional societies call death. In the ancient Kemetic philosophy, there was no word for death. And so we just call it transition. You transition out of the earthly existence and then you transition back into the earthly existence. But the concept of death was something that wasn't held in those traditions. As a matter of fact, the part of you that gives you your ability to be present, to be aware that you're present, to be aware that you're consciousness, cannot be turned off or turned on. It cannot be destroyed. So therefore, the concept of death did not have a footing in those particular traditions. But anyway, when you make your transition, one of the things that takes place is that your life is flashed before your eyes. Now, this is a phenomenal, what we call education learning process. When your life flashes before your eyes, you are hit with what I call that ecstatic epiphany, by which you get that aha moment. You get it. You understand why your life has taken place. Everything about your prior life, you understand. So you're going to understand where your ignorance was and how you improved upon your ignorance. And you're going to have an understanding of relating the life situations to that. So it's not just about knowing, it's about the relationship of those situations that you had to endure in this life to your life path objective. And then the second thing, you'll be able to also clearly see how when you apply what you knew or what you know, you were successful as well. So that when that light flashes before your eyes and you have that epiphany, you are brought into that state of awareness for all of that. Instantly, when you get that epiphany, you want to come back to apply what you know now. See, you could have been the most ignorant person on earth, the most obstinate person. Nobody could talk to you. Nobody could tell you anything. Maybe people viewed you in a not so good way. You continued to do things that was viewed by other people to be incorrect, and so on and so on. You could have been the most obstinate person. You could have been the person that did all the difficult things, all the things that were detrimental to others, and so on and so on. But once you get that epiphany, you come into awareness of what it was, what you were here to know. Why your life took place that way. You're hit with that epiphany. You understand, even though throughout your life you wasn't in a position to understand what people were trying to tell you. But maybe they didn't know your life path objective. But once you get hit with that epiphany, you want to come back and to apply what you know, and to overcome your next expression of ignorance. You want to continue to climb the ladder until you complete experience. So we didn't necessarily consider the earth as hell. We consider the earth as a place to come to grow and prosper. And when we built temples on this earth, we built them so that we could come back and continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to reach for new heights of civilization. So as you can see, reincarnation gives you a better understanding of life. For instance, if you're sitting around thinking that earth is hell and that you can't wait to leave earth, you're not putting your mind in the right place to take advantage of the things of earth. So the understanding of reincarnation gives you a greater understanding of how to take advantage of life. Maybe it will give you the ability to get up and go out and do something. Utilize what you know to bring something into manifestation, to leave behind so that you can say that you accomplished something. So again, that's the concept of reincarnation. I hope it helped you. If it did, feel free to subscribe to this channel, share with your friends, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all those things. Once again, let's continue to grow our light and master our method. Peace.